Robin. I am back today with a brand new tutorial on how to do a DIY dream catcher off of just basic cardboard, some yarn, and some scissors. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a dream catcher out of yarn and cardboard. So for visual purposes, I have this piece of paper and I'm going to show you how I created my form. So I have two bowls. One of these bowls will be my outside diameter and the other one will be my inside. So all I did was flip my bowls upside down and I traced out a circle. I took my inside bowl and flipped it upside down. Centered it the way I wanted it, and I traced that too. So after I did that, I went ahead and I cut out my form of the cardboard, and this is what I was left with. So now I'm going to show you how to wrap your dream catcher. So what I start with is I make a knot. So I'm just going to loop it. I'm going to hold both the strings and I'm going to wrap it around and put it right through that loop that I created and pull it tight. If you have this extra yarn hanging off of here, you can just go ahead and cut that off. You will not need it. So I went ahead and strung a bunch of yarn off of this and kind of wadded it up into a ball so it would be easier for me to work with. Because what you're going to want to do is you're going to wrap this whole form. So I start with my loop and I put the knot at the top here. So I'm going to take this yarn, I'm going to put it through, I'm going to cross over and hold that. I'm going to put it back through, cross over the other way, like that. So from here, you're just going to continue to wrap all the way around until your form is completely covered. So it looks like I'm gonna run out of yarn, but that is okay. I will show you what to do when that happens. You're just gonna take your yarn and we're essentially just gonna tie a knot at the ends of our string. Pull that tight. So we're just going to tie a knot in the end of our yarn here. Pull that tight and cut off your excess yarn. Now I don't need very much more, so I'm just going to pull out what I think I'm going to use. And then we're just gonna keep wrapping right around until we're finished. Okay, so now that we've made it all the way around, I'm gonna show you what I do to tie this off. So this is my last rope. You can see it's gonna cover that cardboard. I'm just gonna cut about here. I'm gonna give it one more wrap around. And if you could see here where we first started, we made an X to hold this loop on. So I'm just going to essentially thread it through that one. You want to hold your loop up while you pull this through. And then I just kind of tie that at the bottom of my loop. Just like that. And you can cut off that. And there you see we have our basic form. And next I will show you how to create the web on the inside. So once you have wrapped your form all the way around, we're ready to do the webbing on the inside. So you're gonna take some yarn and you just kind of wanna guesstimate on how much you need. And cut that off. So to start the inside, I always like to start about 1 inch away from my loop on either side. So I just wrap this around and I make a knot. I double knot this on the bottom so it does not come loose. Again, you just want to cut off your extra yarn so that's not seen. From here it gets a little tricky. So I like to scoot over about another inch over from the loop. And you're going to wrap that around. And you're gonna knot that. And just pull it tight. And then you want to scoot over about another inch or so and just do that again. I really like working with colored yarn because it gives you a kind of a starting and ending point. You don't have to have colored yarn, it's just something I like to work with. But essentially you're going to do this all the way around. So once you get back to the beginning, you're going to go right over where you started. So now you can see we have created this loop all the way around. So your next step is you're going to do the exact same thing, but you're going to want to go right in the middle of all of these that you just created, and that is where you're going to tie your knot. So let me show you what that looks like. You see that? And so you just want to do that to all of those. It's a little difficult to get your yarn in through that top loop, but once you do, it'll come together nicely. So now you've completed your first loop all the way around. And you're going to do the exact same thing. So each of these lines that you've created, you're going to essentially go back in through the middles. Okay, so I've made it back to my top loop. Some people like to make their centers very small. Some will make them wider. That's really up to you and your creativity. So once I'm done, I just make sure that last knot is super tight. And then I just cut it off. So that is your base form. If you would like to add any yarn to the bottom of this, I've already pre-cut some here, which I will show you an easy way how to do this. These pieces of yarn are anywhere from probably 20 to 25 inches long, depending on how long you want it to dangle. But essentially, you're gonna take it and fold it in half. I start with the center, and I'm gonna shove that loop right through the bottom. And then I'm gonna take my strings and pull it through that loop. And pull down. And there you have your first little dangle. And essentially you're gonna wanna do that until this is filled almost halfway. When I'm adding the strings at the bottom, I like to alternate sides. That way I know for sure that we're getting even amounts on both sides. So you can keep going up your sides or you can keep it thin. I kind of like the way that this one is looking already, so I think I'm gonna leave it alone. And I'm gonna hang this on my wall. But there you have it, a Dreamcatcher. Okay, so now that we've finished, your Dreamcatcher should look a little like this. I've went ahead and trimmed my bottom to make it into this V-shaped. There's lots of things that you can do to this. You could add feathers, you could add beads. While you're weaving inside, you could even put beads inside of your Dreamcatcher web. Your creativity is really up to you. But if you liked what we did here today, be sure and like and subscribe to our channel and come back next week for more.